This is Gemara in Gittin Daf Samach Dalid, and we're holding in the bottom of Samach Gimel Amid Beis at the Mishnah, continuing the discussion of a woman creating a shliach lekabbalah, a shliach to accept the get, a shliach la'elacha, a shliach to bring the get, etc. And now we're going to have disputes as to exactly what happened. So says the Mishnah, Isha Sha'amra, a woman says, Iskaba ligiti. A woman told the shliach, please accept for me a get. What is the halacha if the shliach later on says that he indeed accepted the get? Two groups of edim are necessary. Shnayim oimrim, two of the edim say, Shnayim she'oimrim, two that they say, B'fanenu, in front of us, Amra. In front of us, she said, Iskaba ligiti. Meaning she created the shliach likabbalah in front of us. Ushnayim, and two more edim shaimrim that they say bifanenu kibel, that indeed the shliach listened and he accepted it in front of us. So again, in order to prove the veracity of her claim that she created and indeed the witnesses executed that which they were supposed to, two sets of edim are necessary. One to prove that she said such, and two to prove that the edim acted as they were supposed to. Continues the Mishnah, the Kara, that what? That was the end. The two said, B'fanenu kibel. Two witnesses said that we accepted the get, v'kara, and then we tore up the document. Why did they tear up the document? Just like any shtar. Once it is paid up, seemingly you tear it up. Here, why exactly they would do that? Rashi points out, hold on, and we'll see this in the Gemara in a moment. So says the Mishnah, even if the same two edim are the first and the second, meaning you don't really need to have two completely separate groups of edim, as long as you have two people testifying, says the Gemara, on each part of that which is necessary. As long as there are two edim that are testifying, I apologize, the Gemara page just went crazy. As long as there are two edim that testify that they heard the woman say, Iskaba ligiti, telling the shliach, and as long as there are two other edim saying that indeed they accepted it and they ripped up the get, that would be enough. Says the Mishnah, as we turn over to Samach Daled and Aleph, hopefully in a moment we'll get the page open in front of us. Or here it is. Or if there's one from the first group and one from the second group, that will be enough as well. And then another shliach that is going to be mitztaref, that is going to combine with them. So either we have two different groups of witnesses, or we have the same two on each, or we have one on each, and a third person, as Rashi says, a shlishi, is an aid that combines the two eidos. Says the Gemara, Itmar. Balamar, what happens if the husband says, Lipikadain, husband says he gave the get to the third party as a bikadin, as a deposit to safeguard. And what happens? Ushlish Amar, but the third party says no. Legerushin, the husband gave it to him to divorce, so we're not sure. Did the husband actually divorce his wife with this piece of paper or not? Is the case that the husband just wrote the get to be safe, to have it in the safekeeping, and it's really a bikadin, he didn't want to actually divorce his wife? Or did he give it to the third party to indeed divorce his wife? Says the Gemara, Mi Ne'eman, who is the one that is believed in this story, the Baal or the third party? So we have a machlekes, says the Gemara, the classical Ravuna Rav Chisda. Ravuna Amar Baal Ne'eman, Rav Chisda Amar Shlish Ne'eman. Says Rav Chisda, the third party is believed. Explains the Gemara, Ravuna Amar Baal Ne'eman, 5 lines down, Samach Daled and Aleph. Why? Demisa delegershin yave. Because if he indeed gave it to the person for divorce, if he meant to divorce his wife, why would he give it to a third party? What would he have done to it? He would have simply given it to his wife and divorced his wife. So the fact that the get is currently in possession of the third party shows, like the husband's claim, that he just was giving it to the person to safeguard. Whereas Rav Chisda Amar, no, the shlish is them with the third parties believed. Why? Tohemne, because the Maisa, the Baal entrusted him with his paper when he gave it to him. So even though the Baal is saying, no, I only entrusted him to be a shliach on it, clearly there was a high level of credibility between them, and therefore we believe the shlish. So Masiv Rav Abba asks on the opinion of Rav Huna that says the husband is believed. Haidas Baldin Kimei Aidim Dami. Asks Rav Abba, we have a classical rule that the admission of the Baldin is like 100 witnesses. Ushlish Naman, but a third party is believed Mishneim, more than the two people. Meaning, Haidas Baldin, when we have a fight between two parties, if one admits, that's the highest level. But a third party is even a higher level than those two. Ketzad, what's the case? Zehimer, this one says Kach, V'zehimer Kach. So we have a machlekes between the two litigants. Shlish and Amon. The third party is believed. So we see clearly, like the opinion of Rav Chisda, we see clearly that the credibility is given to the shlish. Says the Gemara, no raya, why not? Shiny mammon, cases of money are different. Because cases of money are given to have a mechila, whereas when it comes to a get, it's not the same thing. When it comes to a loan, the husband, any of the parties could indeed be Michael, but again, it's not the same. Ask the Gemara of Tanya, we learned in a Braisa, v'chein legittin. The same thing is true with regard to Gittin. Answers the Gemara, Gittin mamain. This doesn't mean real Gittin, it means a document of money. Tanya, ask the Gemara further, I apologize that we have no video. But Tanya, ask the Gemara, it says in a Braisa, v'chein lishtarois. The same halacha will apply to a shtar. So answers the Gemara, meaning you just told me that get can mean get mamain. But what are you going to say about a shtar? This seems to say that the word get doesn't refer to get a mammon. Why not? Because the word shtarois refers to monetary documents. Says the Gemara, were these two prices learned together? So it's not necessarily a kasha to say shtarois and get means get mammon. End of kasha and teretz. So Lamaisa, we had a kasha on Rav Huna, but Rav Huna stood his own. The Gemara continues with Tanan, with another kasha. Haisha Shamra, a woman that says, what did our Mishnah teach us? Sricha shtei edim, shtayim shem b'fanenu amar, shtayim shamar b'fanenu kibel v'kara. Says the Gemara, why is this true? V'amai lehem nilishlish. According to Rav Chisda, the Rav Chisda taught us that the shlish, that the third party has the credibility. Why don't we just believe the shlish? Answers the Gemara, mikanofe gita mitute yadei dilahemne. Does the get, is the third party actually holding the get that he should be believed? No, he's holding a torn up get. And therefore, we do not believe that he is indeed the shliach. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Teinach, I understand, Amra. Yis could explain when there are Eidim that said that she told them to accept the get. But Kibel Amali. But why do we need to have Eidim to say that they indeed witnessed the acceptance of the get? The get, if the get is torn up right now, that itself proves that obviously the third party accepted the get, because the wife is accepted the get, as the third party got the get. So answers the Gemara, Amar Rava Hamani Rava Lazar, and hopefully by now we're proficient with the sheet of Rava Lazar. The Amar Eidei Mesira Karti. Rava Lazar holds that really the get is effected via the Eidim that witnessed the situation. If that is true, says the Gemara, Kara Lamlis, who cares that they tore it up? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav B'Shas Hashmad Shanu. This is a unique case that it's Shas Hashmad. Very interesting. Different Gemaras. If you're looking at other Gemaras, doesn't say the word Shmad over here. It says Shas Gezeira. Very, very interesting. Amar Rabba. And the reason is that since there was a shmad, the shmad against having any sort of religious practices in one's home, etc., Chazal were nervous. If you don't rip up the document, the Goyim are going to realize that we're practicing Gittin, so they told them to tear up the document. So again, the tearing up the document is for a third bar reason. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rabba, Omay de Ravuna admits, the Amra, admits Ravuna, the Amra, that if the wife said, Lididi Amar li shlish, to me, the shlish said, the shlish said to the husband, to the woman, that the husband gave the get for divorce, then Mehemna, she, the wife, is believed. Says the Gemara, what? I don't understand. According to Rav Huna, the shlish is not believed. According to Rav Huna, the husband is believed. So you're going to tell me that the shlish himself is not believed, but yet, but the woman is, Mehemna is believed. If she says that she heard this from the shlish, how could that be? Rather, says the Gemara, you're right. Amra kamoi. Rather, if the wife said, kamoi didi legershin yavani alei, my husband gave the get to the third party in front of me. She says she saw the giving of the get for gerushin. Then Mehemna, then she has her own credibility in this story. Why? Because she could have said, my husband gave it to me, and a woman is believed to say that the husband gave her the get. So because she's saying he didn't give it to me, but she's corroborating the story that happened, saying the husband gave it to the third party, that's not going to make it worse. Therefore, says the Gemara, that's why there is a namanis in this case, even though comes out ironic that according to Rav Huna, there's no namanis on its own to the shlish, but there will be a namanis of the isha. Says the Gemara, continuing the issues that can happen between the Baal and between the third party. The husband says the Gerishin Shlish Amar, the husband said he gave the get to the third party for divorce. Shlish Amar, Ligerishin, he agrees. Vihi Oimeres, but in this case, 12 lines from the bottom, first one line is Vihi. She says, Nasan leave it, but it's not true. The husband didn't give it to the shlish for divorce. The husband gave it straight to me. But v'avad, I lost the paper, and that's how this guy has it right now. What is the din? Amar Rav Yochanan Avidavar Shabarva. It's a matter of erva. It's permitting a married woman an ish to the world. And therefore, there are going to need to be two witnesses to prove what's going on over here. Asks the Gemara, 1 second, Vamai, what is the reason? Lehamne l'shlish. Why don't we believe the shlish? Says the Gemara, you know why? Mika nafigita mitute yadei. Tilehemne, is he holding the guy that he should be believed? Says the Gemara, fine. Meaning whether Rav Huna or Rav Chisda, whether the Baal or the Shlish, someone here should have a credibility. So why don't we believe the Baal? Amar Rav Chia bar Avin, Amar Rav Yechon, Baal Sha'amar. If a husband says, Ki rashti is ishti, I divorced my wife, 5 lines from the bottom, now when he is believed. So says the Gemara, you know the reason why this doesn't apply in our case. Mika Amar, Girashti, because in this case the husband not saying Girashti. What's he saying? He's saying he gave it to the shliach for gerushin, and the shliach was the one that was supposed to effect the gerushin via the giving of the get. So the husband is not admitting that he himself followed through with actually gerushin, and that's the reason why the husband does not have a na'amanis. Continues the Gemara, 4 lines to the bottom. V'leima, why is this true? We should say a classical rule in the world of shlichus that we always assume that there is a presumption that when you have a shliach, when you give a messenger something to do, there's a presumption and a assumption, a chazaka, that the shliach follows through. Tell me, Rav Yitzchak, where do we see this? Teaches Rav Yitzchak. Someone tells the shliach, please go marry for me a woman. He doesn't specify who umeis, and umeis shluchai. And the shliach died, and we don't know who he married on behalf of the sender. Also, the sender is royally messed up. He's forbidden to the whole world. Why is he forbidden to the whole world? Because we assume the shliach did his shlichus. What was the shlichus to marry this man? So we assume this man is married. Unfortunately, we don't know whom this man is married to. Why do we not know whom this man is married to? For the simple reason that the shliach died before telling us. So as the Gemara proves from Rav Yitzchak that we see shliach oisa shlichusay. Says the Gemara as we turn over to Samach Daled Amud Beis. Hani mili. When do we assume that a shliach does his shlichus? Lechomra. It only means that we're going to be machmir and assume the shliach did his shlichus and assume that this man was married off, and therefore he's going to be usher to everyone in the world. Avolekula, but in our case, to assume the shliach did his shlichos, that's going to be a kula. That's going to allow the person to get remarried. That's going to allow an ish's ish to be mutter to the world. Says the Gemara, lekula lo yamrinan. We do not assume that a shliach necessarily did his shlichos. And explains the Gemara, v'lehamnei ledidab midrav Hamnuna. I don't understand. So she should have a credibility, asks the Gemara, on the basis of Rav Hamnuna. What's Rav Hamnuna? Damar Rav Hamnuna on the second line of Samach Daled Amud Beis. Ha'isha shamar, if a woman says, L'bayil to her husband, Girashtani, my husband, she tells her husband, you divorced me. Now, she's believed. Why is she believed? 4 lines from the top of Samach Daled Amud Beis. She is believed because Chazaka, we have a presumption, whenever a woman would never have the brazenness to lie straight to her husband's face. So the fact that she's saying you divorced me means she has the credibility to say that. So why not in our case? Says the Gemara, there's only an amanis to the woman if there's nothing that aids and helps her claim. The Messiah law, meizo, something that there is that supports her claim, then we do have to be afraid that she will be meiz, that she will be she will have the audacity to say so in front of her husband and to lie. Therefore, she does not have any credibility. Continues the Mishnah at Samach Daled Amud Beis, learning really some fundamentals in the age of a woman. Says the Mishnah, Naira Hamurasa, a woman, a Naira, a girl between the age of 12 and 12 and a half that underwent Erisin. He ve'avia mikablan eskita, either she or her father could accept her get. Amar Rav Yehuda, what do you mean? Says Rav Yehuda, it's impossible. 2 people can never be zeicha at once. Rather, elavia mekabel eskita, only the father could do such, ubilvad on his own. The Mishnah throws in a final din. Anyone, a din that we've seen already, anyone who cannot watch their get, in yachol itkaresh, well, you didn't really see it explicitly, cannot get divorced. The tenet of divorce is that the woman is able to watch her get, is able to ensure that she has the get, and therefore, if she cannot do such, therefore, she cannot get the divorce. Says the Gemara, what exactly is this machlekes between the Tanakama that says an Ayah Marasa, he or Avia can accept her get, whereas Rav Yehuda, who says that 2 people cannot accept one thing, rather only the father could do it. Says the Gemara, what exactly is this machlekes? Explains the Gemara, Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan hold, Yada Yiserta Zachila Rachmana. The Rabbanan hold that the Torah gave an additional zchus, an additional way of receiving her get, being her hand. The Rav Yehuda Savar, and Rav Yehuda argues, and he says, Makmavia, in place of her father, Yadi lo lav klum hi, her hand is useless. Meaning, even if there was an area in halacha that one would think that she was able to be zaycha, however, lemaisa, says Rav Yehuda, 2 people cannot accept one thing at a time. Therefore, if the father is accepting the get, she has no rights. Continues the Gemara of quoting the end of the Mishnah, anyone that cannot watch their get cannot be divorced. Says the Gemara Tanarabanan, Ketana Yodas Lishmar Eskita, Ketana knows how to watch the get. Mitka Reshes could be divorced. Visheni Yodas Lishmar Eskita, if the Ketana does not know how to watch their get, Eino Mitka Reshes cannot be divorced. Veizehi, what is this age of a Ketana? Yodas Lishmar Eskita that can watch their get. Explains the Gemara, Kol Shemishmarois Kita v'davar acher. What this means is anyone who could watch an object, kol shemishameres davar acher machmas. No, excuse me. Kol shemishameres kita v'davar acher. Take care of her get and something else. Says the Gemara, what in the world does that mean? Micah Amar. What exactly does that mean that she could watch a get and something else? So Amar Rav Yechon explains Rav Yechon Achi Kamar. Kol shemishameres davar acher machmas gita. She could watch another object and in place of the get, then she can be divorced. Even though it's not the same, in such a scenario, it sounds like in the Gemara, that in the event that the get is lost, she'll watch something else. As the Gemara, Maskvla Ravuna, ask Ravuna Bar Menayach, Hashaita Ba'al Mihi. What are you talking about? This woman, if instead of watching her get, she's watching a soda bottle thinking it's her get, why are you saying that she has a das, that she's able to accept the get? Hafach, the exact opposite. This woman is a shaita. She's watching a influential piece of paper thinking it is her get. So Ella Amar Ravuna rather teaches Ravuna Bar Menach Meshmei Ravacha Braid Ravika Kol Shemavchenes. Doesn't mean anyone that watches. It means any woman that could discern Ben Gitel Davar Acher between her get and something else. That is the woman that is able to be divorced. And we conclude, says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Yosi, Sarar Vizarka. You give a child a rock and he throws it away. Egois Vinali, give him a nut and he takes it. Zoich that's an age that the person could acquire the get for themselves. However, Vein Zoich and they're not a gadol to accept the get for someone else. If you give them, if the person borrows an object and they return it lachar shah after an hour, that means they have a higher level of das and they can even accept it for themselves or someone else. When they told us in front of Shmuel, Amar Ali, he said to me, David Achasi. Both of those are really the same. My David Achasi. He says, what do you mean both are the same? Amar Rav Chisda explains to Rav Chisda, whether the person could return something after borrowing it, whether a person has the lowest level of an egois, when you give them a nut, they'll take it, they can accept the gift for themselves, but not someone else. And now from here, the Gemara is going to continue questioning. No, let's just go one more line. Masiv Rav Chinina Vardan. Ask Rav Chinina Vardan. How do you make a sheet of mavoi? You place a barrel and you say, this barrel is for everyone who and you're mizaka the barrel via the children, the sons and daughters who are gedolim, and via his servants. Says the Gemara, what is this case of a servant? So why do you have them? Supposed to go free. And even those persons are caught because they didn't breach Shtei Cyrus, we see they can even be zeicha for someone else. Concludes the Gemara, Shiny Shetuvim Mevois Derabanan. That's only din Derabanan, and therefore we can't bring a raya from that case. But we'll pick up from here the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.